Welcome to Jamaica Dancehall Source News and Entertainment with a Buzz. When you think about our generation and the generation of today, generation of Viper, them call it Gen X, we see the difference in the type of character that was back in the past versus present. There was a saying that was steadfast in a Jamaica, spare the rod and spoil the child. That means you been your picnic before them broke out bad in a some vagabond. So there's a video making its round on social media in which these ladies sit down and having a discussion and they are saying when they were a certain age, 12, 13, teenager, them couldn't act like these teenagers are acting in a present day, meaning generation of vipers. I want you to take a look at exactly what these ladies had to say, and then I'll give my piece.
13, 14, and we are G-string. Back in our days, if you have our cut up big panty.
Just six or something, we have a little boyfriend and we are hiding.
Hello.
Want to see the big bag.
I'll sleep.
Yeah.
As a little girl, if you have a sleep as a little girl. Jesus Christ.
See how people wear sleep, don't want to see me, I feel wearing that blood tea.
You always a little girl, you sit down and your mother see your wife open your foot, man, not talking. Dust spot and two blood clot, the back clot for you. Wash them.
Like my period for come the 16th, and my period never come the
And
16th.
bloomers.
My period come around the 18th. My mother called me up, and my mother said to me, say, Yvette? I said, yes, mama. In front of all of my family, them and our friend, them, you know, two-shot politician, and shame. You know, mother told me, Yvette, your period come? I said, no, mama. Mama said, you better blood clot, find that. And that she tell me, you know. And I said, mama, you know, the Bible says, Jesus Christ, you know, I'm sure I call my brother to beat me now. And what want for me, I know. You see, when time my period come, you hear me now, no? You hear me, you hear me, no, he said, mama, my period come, then, oh, your blood clot, find that. Oh,
Now, people, truth and the fact is that back in the days, there was a thin line between abuse and tough love. Meaning that your mother, your parents, was not going to spare you and make you go up on the street and embarrass them. That means that they were going to show you strict discipline. Meaning, you're going to get some clothing, whether at the brush, whether at the electrical wire, whether at some salsa with some salsa limb off of the tree, whether a cane, whether a leather belt, anything that your mother couldn't catch or father couldn't catch, them are cloth you. And what is even worse, sometimes after your mother cloth you, the father come home and the mother tell the father, where you do? And you get a double. Sometimes you go to school and the teacher them beat you, and then the mother and the father here, and you get a triple. So therefore, you were not spared. You were not given any sorts of opportunity to misbehave. You know, say once you misbehave, not only a family member, even your neighbor, even Miss Mattia, whomever was your neighbor, could also beat if them see you do something. And then even your neighbors would inform, well, not inform, give information to your parents if they saw you on the street doing anything that was wrong. Now, people, things were so bad that you could not pass any sorts of adult on the street and don't say good morning, good evening, good night. Because if them tell your mother or tell your father, you're going to get a clotting once again. You could not go to school and see a teacher and act boisterous, be disrespectful in front of the teacher. Nowadays, these kids, them a cuss off the teacher, them a fight off the teacher, them a fight off the principal, them a fight off the dean of discipline, them a fight off everybody, including their own parents. Now, people, I know that back then, when you get the clotting and the regular beating at school, at your house, over next door, everybody a beat you left, right, and center. You say to yourself, boy, I want to run away. I want to take for myself. However, when you see that you've grown up and you become disciplined and the type of character that you build, people, based on the expert, they are saying that whenever you clot at the pitney them, it makes them worse, and then they themselves become ABUSIVE. I don't think that that is true because we used to get more clotting than anybody. I would be willing to bet that. However, based on my two pitney them, I have hardly ever touched them, meaning lick them up, maybe about 3 times out of 2 pitney. So people, go figure. So it depends on the type of character you have, but like them say, spare the rod and spoil the child. These people need some clothing. These people need some discipline. I don't know if Jamaica or the Jamaican kids nowadays, this new generation, will ever get back. We will ever see any sorts of morals or ethics or any sorts of discipline in our society. Based on what we are seeing right now, especially with the advent of TikTok with these influencers that are influencing nothing but bullshit, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is based off a video that has been making its round on social media, where a young lady that claims that she is a niece of your Prime Minister Andrew Holness is defending him and also dissing the critiques. I want you to take a listen, take a look at exactly what she has to say, and then I'll give my piece.
Hello, so I guess I have to come out of retirement because I realize that some people are just doing the most and saying the worst things about my uncle. What has Andrew Onis really done to some of you people for you to say the most disgraceful and distasteful things about him? What has he really done? Who for white fowl in kill and eat? I am so disappointed in some of you. I am so disappointed. And at this point, I can't even say that you're ignorant. I just think someone will just dunce, and that is just simple it. You want the Prime Minister to fail. You realize that if the Prime Minister fails, that means that Jamaica fails. That means that Jamaica is non-progressive. You not ever realize that? How can you wish ill intent on your leader? If he fails, that means that Jamaica fails. You not really don't love Jamaica? You see, the sooner you accept that he's Prime Minister today and tomorrow in the next 4 or 5 years, the better it will be for you guys. And so you can put down JLP one side and PNP. It's one Jamaica. It has always been one Jamaica. Now is the time to really choose Jamaica. Please, I implore you people, please to stop degrade the man and say the worst about him. Instead, pray for him. Pray that the Lord give him added strength and more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We want Jamaica to do better, and he is the leader, whether you like it or not. So just stop being disgusting and stop being so dunce. Like, you know what? Take care, people. Have a good day. Some of you just cannot be helped at this point in time. You don't have to love him, but you will respect the office that he sits in, and that is just simply it. You cannot change who the Prime Minister is. Election come and it gone, and the Lord say him are the Prime Minister, so you just work with it. Work with it and stop it.
Now, people, if this is your family, you're always going to defend your family with all your might, because them say blood is thicker than water. However, whenever you are the Prime Minister of any country, specifically Jamaica, you are a public figure and you're working for the people, because they put you on a pedestal and have certain expectations that are high. Whenever those expectations are not met, you're going to get criticism. It comes with the territory. But it seems as if, just like Andrew Holness and Juliet Holness, the family suffer from thin skin syndrome. That means that they cannot take any sort of criticism. The truth and the fact is that Andrew Holness is not the first Prime Minister that has ever been critiqued and criticized in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, he is not the worst. And even if you extend it overseas, especially in America, first world country, their president get the most criticism. That country is a first world country. That country has a nice economy. That means that they are one of the most successful countries ever in a mankind. When it comes to Jamaica, based on all the assets, based on all the natural resources, and based when we compare to places like Bahamas that have absolutely nothing on Jamaica as it pertains to natural resources. Those are reasons why the Prime Minister of Jamaica is critiqued. So in other words, he is properly compensated. However, the production is subpar. And this applies to most Prime Minister, most MP, most politician, JLP and PNP. We see that we're not getting bang for the buck. Now, people, I have to admit that some of the criticism is not justified. However, whenever you are properly compensated and getting the salary of a person that gets $28 million a year for a third world country, which is actually 3 times that amount of the Bahamas, whose dollar is on par with United States dollar. That means that one Bahamian dollar equals $1. Compared to Jamaica, $1 equals to about 155 to probably about $160. And what makes it worse is that when we see what has happened, transpired lately as it pertains to Hurricane Melissa, with the very slow response while persons are suffering, persons are actually losing their life. That compounded with all the history of these prime ministers, these MPs, these politicians not producing, it makes it even worse. And when we think about the fact that the country is now faced with a crisis as in Hurricane Melissa relief, and most persons, most Jane or Joe, think that the Prime Minister or the relevant authority is not responding quickly, and persons are losing their lives, and persons are actually suffering. So that compound with his past history of negligence and incompetence and inefficiency, persons have the rights, persons are justified to say what they are saying, even though a lot of the criticism is not justified. People may just say it goes with the territory, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we saw that dancehall artist Vybz Kartel was getting a whole bunch of bashing on social media when other artists run out with their hurricane relief. I am speaking about the likes of Massacre, the likes of Sean Paul, Shaggy, the likes of Beanie Man. A lot of persons were criticizing him and saying that, hold on a minute, how comes you there in some plush place in America, come to Jamaica and there are some plush place? Why are you not in the fields, in the trenches? Well, people, it seems as if Vybz Kartel listened, or Vybz Kartel and his crew had intentions of coming to Jamaica based on his busy schedule, based on the fact that he was touring extensively. So this is Vybz Kartel when he hit the ground in Jamaica. Take a listen, take a look, and then I'll give my piece.
Damage, physical damage different than the mental damage, bro. The thing deeper than just, oh, your house brother and the kids them have go through a lot, brother. Brother, remember where I get to you to know what trauma is growing up. Wow. Just with violence and gunshot and everything. So imagine this trauma where the kids them have go through. Let me tell you, say, no man can step to me with no negativity. Got chucking at you see me? Yes. The thing deep. Yeah, dog. When I come for the chatting and a cloud, man. And then a hype will come for do it where we can do that. And imploring people to do what they can do. And as when I say, to what me see some people when I have nothing, dog, still a push out. I tell you, say this bigger than politics, guy. Me know, no man ask me, no matter what you say about politicians. And it was very important to me, not just advice, but it's like a citizen of Jamaica. And a Jamaican with patriotic like most of us. I was in America watching everything and it brought tears to my eyes. I was a TJ that we come to Jamaica to represent the people. Spend some money and make the people there. See we on the ground, which I think that has a lot to do with this whole rebuilding process. You know, people believe in our as artists, so it's good when they can actually see us physically and see us on the ground working, and that also help to motivate other people to get involved as well. So for me, it was of the utmost importance to be here, not just send money or send time, but to actually be here, yes.
So let's go directly now. You're here, you just went for children's home, which was deep in the rural Jamaica.
Yes.
And you took the ride, you drove to Montego Bay.
Yes.
Now you're doing different aspects of the journey.
Now, people, like I said, he was getting a whole bunch of bashing on social media. I don't think that it was justified. Like I said, some persons' schedule are different. Some persons were available. However, the persons that we see that are not making themselves available and seems to be dragging their feet is the government of Jamaica, the relevant authority. However, you see that Vybz Kartel, even though he hears the complaints of persons out there that the government are not doing enough, the government are thief, rate, lele, he did not want to put any sort of negativity in the situation. He was saying that even though people have said this and that about the government, him knows the government feel it. Him knows that this one, as bad as it is, and as unconscionable as most politicians are, they actually feel this one because this was as bad as it gets. So people, at the end of the day, we see Vybz Kartel is putting his money where his mouth is. He is doing action. All of the critics that you see that has been criticizing Vybz Kartel for years, where are they now? What are you doing? Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we see that your Prime Minister Andrew Holness, relevant authority, they've been getting a whole bunch of bashing on social media in their slow response as it pertains to Hurricane Melissa relief and getting food, getting water, getting the proper attention to the persons out there that most need it. So the voices that are out there, they are loud and they are a lot. One of those persons that is the loudest and that is saying everything that is bad about Andrew Holness as it pertains to his response is a person known as Pretty Don. I want you to take a look at exactly what Pretty Don has to say as it pertains to Andrew Holness versus artists versus social media personalities, and then I'll give my piece.
See, Ramage, I use fee money. Shaggy, I use fee money. Bolt, fee money. Shelly and fear money. All of them I use fee them money out. All I know you're not doing it to your own place. I watch you not come from St. Elizabeth, you not come from down a West, you not come from down a Westmoreland and them place and down a Moby and you know, dog, all I know. Me did expect that from you as the Prime Minister. You're craven. I show the people in Jamaica say all for your blood clot self. You talk about blood clot infrastructure. When the people in my bumbo clot dead, flying food for them. If people in my dead, then if you tear down people place. You're wicked, you're worse than blood clot Hitler. You're worse than bumbo clot Hitler pussy hole. I mean, I tell you straight, there is no way you as a Prime Minister cannot see Jamaicans that suffer like dog. Pitney and the hungry can't find water to drink.
Now, people, the truth and the facts is that some of what Pretty Don is saying is true and factual. However, a lot of it is over-sensationalized, exaggerated. Like them say, nobody wants the truth when the lie is more entertaining. Meaning that I don't think that Andrew Holness or any politician, as unconscionable as most of them are just sitting down intentionally and watching persons suffer, watching persons lose their life, watching persons in the during in the middle of the night, no roof, nothing over them head, little picnic hungry, little picnic clutch onto the mother, desperate, dire situation. I just think that, like them say, bad habits are hard to break. And the fact that these politicians have been moving like molasses, running down a little slope in Alaska in a blizzard, meaning very slowly. They don't know any sort of way. They have never been efficient in their life. So my point is this: if they don't know how to assess, analyze, and fix simple problems that they've been dealing with for decades, I don't know how, or don't expect them to do any sort of better when there's something that is dire in a catastrophe, such as Hurricane Melissa. They just don't know how. They just cannot help themselves. They need help. They need external help, meaning the United States of America. Well, people, your Prime Minister has responded based on the criticism that he has been getting. I want you to take a look at exactly what he had to say when he tried to explain himself, and then I'll give my piece.
There was a scramble. And that scramble essentially was, my hand is up, I need help. And the system trying to respond to the loudest voices or the most frantic wave of hands. As of today, we are out of that phase. Now, a systematic response will take over in the relief effort. And you would see that the government has made certain actions to ensure that there is a systematic response. Let me say it in another way. I hear the cry of every baby that is now hungry in a community that is not yet reached. It goes to bed with me. And I have to think of it in this way. Do I try myself to jump on a helicopter with a package to reach the baby that is crying? Or do I try to develop a system to get more helicopters in, to get more packages put together, to get more supplies in, to get more support to be able to reach those babies that are crying. While at the same time saying to Keith and Darrell and Minister Tufton, get out there in the scramble. And so that is what you have been seeing. People individually going out there trying to relieve the human suffering. But that is not a sustainable response.
Now, people, based on what your Prime Minister is saying, we know that he has heard the cries literally of the kids and the cries of the critics out there, including myself, that you're moving very slowly. And in an emergency situation, the faster that you move is the faster that persons ease their suffering. Persons could lose their life in a split second, especially when you're taking days, especially when persons see all the foreign aid, see all the helicopter. Truth be told, based on conversations that I've had with persons from overseas that are here helping in the hurricane relief, they said sometimes they wish that they could take over, because when they look at the strategy that is used by the government of Jamaica, it is kind of backwards. I also asked them the question, what is going on with all this money that is given by the United States of America? And this is the response that I got. Best believe this money that is given by America will be properly monitored, meaning that they want to see the paperwork. They want to know which and where each penny goes. And if Andrew Holness or any other politician think that they are going to get this money and use this money for their own selfish benefit, lace them pockets. They have something else coming. They will be indicted, they will be prosecuted, and they will be convicted for this money. These persons are not playing. These persons have heard the cries or allegations and accusations, so therefore they are looking at the Prime Minister and other politicians with a side eye. They are giving them the benefit of the doubt to do the right thing. However, if them do the wrong thing is going to do them. Point blank and period.
The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the fatal shooting of 2 men by the police in Steertown, St. Anne on Wednesday. The police say the men were wanted for various crimes in the parish. The deceased have been identified as 23-year-old Martin Williams, otherwise called Sheedy, of Roaring River, Steertown, and 23-year-old Damar Powell, otherwise called Shane or Major, of Green Bay in St. Anne. According to the police, about midday, a team of officers from the Specialized Operations Unit was carrying out surveillance in Steertown based on intelligence that 2 men were hired to commit a murder in the community. A blue and black Yamaha motorcycle with no registration plates affixed was seen with 2 men aboard, traveling from the direction of Maumee Bay. The police used their service vehicle to block the path of the motorcycle and accosted the men. The pillion rider allegedly brandished a gun and pointed it in the direction of the officers, who opened fire, hitting the men. The injured men were pronounced dead at hospital. The police say a Glock pistol and magazine containing 11 rounds were taken from the pillion rider.
Now, people, whenever you are a criminal element, whenever you are known for extortion, whenever it is said that you are going on a mission of murder and the police intercept you and there is a shootout, whether it is justified or not, in the investigation, it is going to be closed casket. It is going to be closed case. Such is the case in this case. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.